For bone-chilling tales of trespassing, haunting true stories that will leave you eerie and exposed. The creaking door was the first sign. A heavy gust of wind rushed through, whispering secrets that shouldn't be heard. That moment sent shivers racing down Anna's spine as she stepped into the forbidden house at the end of the street. All her friends warned her, but the thrill of trespassing was too strong. They said strange noises echoed through the walls, and shadows flickered like torchlight even when the sun was high. Did that door just slam shut behind her? Panic gripped her as she spun around, searching for an escape. But it wasn't just the stories that haunted this old place. The cracked walls held memories and mystery scratches from something unseen, messages in the dust that spoke of lost souls. Anna tiptoed deeper, her heart pounding like a drum. Every creak of the floorboards felt like a warning. She had to know the truth. Why did everyone stay away? Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, something moved. It was swift and dark, barely there but enough to freeze her breath. Anna's mind raced. Was that a figure? Or just her imagination running wild? The thought sent tremors through her hands as she fumbled to pull out her phone for light, its glow flickering softly like a candle at the edge of a storm. As she pressed on, Anna uncovered a faded photograph pinned to the wall, its edges curling like the lips of a long-forgotten ghost. It showed a group of people, smiles bright against the shadows of an earlier time. But one face was scratched out, as if someone wanted to erase that memory entirely. Who were they? And why was that person important enough to conceal? Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With renewed determination, Anna pressed deeper into the darkened hall. Then it happened. A voice, barely a whisper, brushed past her ear, barely audible but unmistakably there. Get out now. Her heart dropped. The air turned icy, and she was no longer alone. Just as she turned, an overwhelming feeling of dread washed over her, her body pinned as if the spirits of the house held her captive. What was lurking in those shadows, waiting for her to make a wrong move? Something shattered behind her, a mirror splintering into a million shards, reflecting her pale face distorted by fear. She needed to run, but her legs felt paralyzed, glued to the floor. Had she awakened something that should remain undisturbed? Or had she just stepped into a nightmare from which there was no waking? The darkness closed in around Anna like a vice. She felt the chill crawl up her spine, as dread coiled tightly in her chest. The shattered mirror lay scattered on the floor like fallen stars, glinting maliciously under the dim light of her phone. With every heartbeat, the unseen presence grew closer, its intentions heavy in the air. Could it sense her fear? A rustle echoed from the hallway behind her, drawing her attention. Shadows seemed to stretch and twist, each flicker promising more than mere disturbance. What is happening? She whispered to herself, but no answer came. The walls felt alive, pulsing with energy that made her skin prickle. She had to move, but her mind screamed against the instinct to flee. What if she stumbled upon something far worse than her imagination could conjure? Gathering what courage she had left, Anna edged further into the house. The beam of her phone's light danced across the carpet, revealing traces of life from years gone by, faded footprints in dust, a child's toy with paint chipped away, and those oppressive walls that seemed too narrow, too claustrophobic. Each shadow blended into the next, a breaching wave of darkness that engulfed her. In the far corner stood an ornate armoire, its wood darkened by time, looming like a sentinel of secrets. The doors, slightly ajar, beckoned with an insidious allure. Compelled by a force beyond her understanding, Anna stepped closer. What lay hidden within? Boxes of forgotten dreams or remnants of shattered lives? As she swung the doors open, a strange gust of cold air hit her, carrying the scent of decay. The contents were jumbled together: old clothes, newspapers yellowed with age, and something else. Something darker. A journal lay sprawled open, its pages frayed, revealing scrawled handwriting that trembled beneath layers of dust. Anna hesitated, glancing back toward the hallway. The feeling of being watched intensified. Heart hammering, she leaned in to read. The ink barely legible, it spoke of rituals and sacrifices, cries for help lost in translation. Each line dripped with desperation as she pieced together the tale of the home's former inhabitants, once a happy family, now reduced to whispers and echoes of despair. A name surfaced repeatedly, smudged but hauntingly familiar: Elizabeth. "What happened to you?" she mumbled, her voice cracking in the silence that a sudden thud echoed from the back of the house, jolting her from her reading. Instinctively she turned off her phone, plunging herself into darkness. The silence enveloped her whole. It was suffocating. Her breath quickened, and deep down, she knew she should leave. But a pull, an insatiable curiosity, kept her frozen. Then, a soft sobbing pierced the air, chilling Anna to the bone. It was close, too close. She stepped back, bumping into the armoire, panic crashing over her. The sobbing turned into a wail, a cry of anguish that echoed through the halls, sharp, desperate, demanding attention. "Who's there?" Anna shouted, her voice barely a whisper. The wailing ceased abruptly. Only silence remained, heavy as lead. Anna's instinct to flee battled with the need to uncover the truth. She couldn't turn back now. She was already too deep in this web of the unknown. As she fought her fear, she felt a cold grip encircle her wrist, pulling her backward with a relentless force. She gasped, spinning around to find nothing but shadows. But they felt alive, clawing for her, reaching out from the depths of the unknown. "Let go! Please!" she screamed, a scream that echoed painfully through the darkness. But what began as a desperate plea morphed into something else altogether. The shadows tightened around her, consuming the last remnants of her courage. In that moment, Anna realized she was not alone, and the dark truth of the house was ready to reveal itself. She must break free, she must find a way out before it was too late. But did she have the strength to confront what lay ahead? Anna's heart raced as the icy grip tightened around her wrist, yanking her deeper into the inky shadows of the armoire. She fought with every ounce of strength, but the unseen force was relentless. Blood pounded in her ears, drowning out all rational thought. The air crackled with tension, heavy with despair and something vile lurking just out of sight. The walls felt like they were pressing closer, and the sobs returned, now echoing like a chant. She felt trapped in a nightmare that gripped her throat, squeezing out screams and replacing them with sheer terror. "Help me!" she shouted into the abyss, uncertain who might hear, if anyone at all. The shadows seemed to pulse in response, and she was certain they were laughing now, mocking her plight. With all her willpower, she twisted her wrist away as hard as she could, and by some stroke of luck she broke free, tumbling backward into the cold, hard floor. Gasping for breath, she scrambled to her feet and shined the faint beam of her phone around the room, searching for an escape or a sign of life. The armoire's doors hung ajar, an ominous portal, and the journal lay half in and half out of view. A few hastily scribbled lines echoed in her mind. They must be appeased, their hunger cannot be ignored. Her gut twisted with dread. Who were they? What was this hunger? A sudden crash resounded from somewhere behind her, further down the corridor. The sound of glass shattering sent her adrenaline skyrocketing. "Not again," she muttered, scanning her surroundings for an exit while trying to suppress her rising panic. Each shadow seemed to whisper secrets and warnings. The air was thick with their presence. She turned and fled down the hallway, the beam of her phone flickering as if sensing her fear. The old floorboards creaked loudly beneath her feet, echoing the urgency and futility of her escape. The wailing grew louder, reverberating off the walls as if summoning her back, pulling at her very soul. A door at the end of the hallway stood slightly open, a sliver of light spilling out, a beacon in this bleak darkness. Hope surged through her. Perhaps freedom was just a step away. As she approached the door, cold air clawed at her, and a whisper wrapped around her, teasing her ear like a lover's caress. "Stay with us." Anna hesitated, fear battling hope. The shadows lurked close, pooling around her feet, and the wailing was now a cacophony of voices, a symphony of despair that chilled her to the bone. "No!" she shouted defiantly, shoving the door wider and spilling into the room. Inside, the light flickered violently, illuminating a small space filled with worn-out furniture. Old family photographs, faded and tarnished, lined the walls. Her heart sank as she recognized the family in the pictures, an eerie resemblance to her own. "Stay with us," she heard again, smoother this time, almost melodic. But the voices distorted into menacing laughter, echoing off the walls as they crescendoed around her. The door slammed shut behind her, and she felt an oppressive weight press down, pinning her to the ground. Panic surged through her as she realized she was not alone in the room. Sinister shapes began to materialize, floating at the edge of the light, drawn to her presence as if she were an offering. "What do you want?" Anna pleaded, a tremor creeping into her voice. "What we have lost," one figure whispered. Its features were indistinct, shrouded in shadows that danced away from the light, yet its intent was palpable. Elizabeth. Anna's breath hitched. "Is that you?" But as she spoke her name, the room shifted. Walls warped and the air thickened. Elizabeth's cry rang out, piercing through the madness, resonating with pain. "Help me!" the voice screamed, a skeletal wail that sent shivers racing down Anna's spine. Anna knew that she had stumbled upon something far darker than she had ever imagined. The boundaries of reality were fraying, and a choice lay before her: save a ghost or save herself. Time ticked away, the shadows closing in, suffocating her hopes and tightening around her fate. The question lingered in the air, tainted with suspense. Was she ready to confront the darkness and unveil the truth, or was she destined to join the chorus of shadows forever? She looked back at the door, then at the swirling darkness before her. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but the truth began to take shape in her mind: what had happened here? And what would it cost her to uncover it? Anna felt the shadows surge forward, their presence heavy and suffocating. Each figure seemed to hover, whispering remnants of untold secrets that clawed at her sanity. She took a trembling step back, her mind racing. Elizabeth's voice echoed in her ears, a lament dripping with anguish. "Why did you come?" another shadow rasped, bitterness lacing the words. "You seek what cannot be found." "No, I need." Anna's throat tightened. Her heart still raced from the grip of the armoire and the whispers of the past, but she couldn't let Elizabeth's pleas slip away into obscurity. "I need to help her." "Help," the shadows scoffed, their laughter melding into a low drone that filled the air, vibrating against the walls. The flickering light dimmed, threatening to extinguish, leaving Anna to confront the darkness oozing closer. She could feel their cold fingers brushing against her skin. "Stay with us," they murmured, a chilling invitation that caressed her determination like a blade on flesh. But Anna shook her head, focusing through the disorienting haze. The memories of laughter, warmth, and family from the photographs surged forth. Elizabeth was real. She had to be. "What happened to you?" Anna cried out, desperation flooding her words. "Why can't you leave?" The shadow nearest her shifted, brightening in its darkness enough to catch a glimpse of a twisted face, mouth stretched into an eternal scream. "We were taken and now we hunger." The weight of their desire weighed heavily, intensifying like an invisible vice clamping around her heart. Anger bubbled inside her. These shapes were undeniably tragic but terrifying all the same. Each scream brought clarity. Something unspeakable had torn them from their lives. "What do you want?" she repeated, more forcefully this time, mustering every ounce of resolve. Each passing moment thickened the air, and she felt the swell of time pressing against her, demanding answers. "Your grief, your blood. It must be fed." The chorus responded, a symphony of malice that echoed in the corners of her mind, twisting memories of her own family into grotesque replays. Anna stumbled back, breath hitching as the realization sunk in. This weight of despair wasn't just about Elizabeth. It was about the loss, all the losses she refused to let go. "Then I won't give you anything," she shouted defiantly. "I refuse to be your pawn." The shadows lunged forward, swirling around her in a vortex of ice and despair. She felt them clawing at her soul, desperate to pull her down into their depths. Panic rippled through her, an electric current that jolted her into motion. Without thinking, she dashed toward the door, her heart in her throat. The old wood felt like an anchor, straining against the tide pulling her back. Just as she reached for the knob, the shadows twisted around her, their emptiness overwhelming. "Come back, Anna!" The figures cried as one, their voices blending into a chilling harmony, blending sorrow and rage. "Don't leave us! We need you!" The door rattled as she pressed against it, fighting against the tide of despair, desperation clawing at her legs. She pushed against the weight of both her past and the ghostly apparitions surrounding her. Will her resolve hold? Or would the whispers and shadows pull her into their dark and endless embrace? With every ounce of energy, Anna turned the knob and flung the door wide open, the sudden light pouring in like liquid hope. But before she could step through, a cold realization gripped her. What lay beyond the threshold might not be as freeing as salvation, it could just be another nightmare. As she hesitated, glancing back into the swirling chaos behind her, a single word hung in the air, lingering dangerously, threatening to shatter everything. Stay. With dread filling her heart, she realized something even more terrifying. What was truly waiting for her on the other side might be more haunting than what she left behind. What kind of horrors awaited her in the light? And could she ever truly escape the remnants of what had been lost? Anna stood frozen, a figurative bead of sweat trickling down her spine as uncertainty pressed down on her. The stark brightness beyond the door beckoned, empty of shadows, yet full of dread. She felt the pull of the unknown, but it was a pull so violent, it could shatter her resolve. "Anna, please!" The shadows cried again, their voices rising like a tempest, each tone laced with desperate hunger. "You can help us! You know the pain!" That pain was all Anna had known since Elizabeth vanished. The lives stolen. The families torn apart. It gnawed at her like an unending grief. The pleas rang true, mocking her. Deep down, she could sense that these shadows had experienced a loss just as profound as hers. Maybe the whisper slipped out before she could shut it down. "Maybe I can guide you." "No!" She fought against it, shaking her head violently. "You're wrong. Helping you means losing myself." Then, the world seemed to shift, a pocket of silence enveloping her for just a moment. The shadows slowed, their swirling forms coiling like serpents, poised to strike. Suddenly, something shifted. A flicker of clarity came through the cacophony. A broken image of Elizabeth's face appeared, shimmering between the light and the dark. Her eyes sparkled with the warmth of lost moments, but the smile was haunted, fading like a forgotten memory. "Anna," it whispered, stretching out toward her. "Elizabeth!" Her heart lurched at the sight, the urgency bringing a flame to her chest. "I'm coming!" Just as she pushed herself toward the doorway, the shadows erupted. They surged forward with a shrieking wind, swirling around her limbs like tendrils of ice. "No! Stay with us!" They shrieked in unison, and for a moment, Anna felt her conviction waver. With her heart pounding, she took a deep breath. She could feel the weight of each shadow pressing on her chest, but she needed to break free. "You can't have me!" she screamed, ripping herself from their grasp with a ferocity she didn't know she could muster. Before she could second-guess herself, she plunged through the doorway and stumbled into the light. The warmth washed over her like a wave, but it quickly evaporated into a chilling sense of loss. The room was empty, yet she felt Elizabeth's absence as a cold kiss against her skin. There were no signs of the haunting shadows, just an oppressive silence that held her captive. "Is this truly freedom?" she whispered to herself, taking a hesitant step forward. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her, echoing through the barren room. Panic seized her, and she turned to face the sturdy wood, the only barrier separating her from the anguish she thought she escaped. Glimmers of light danced in the corners, flickering sporadically, illuminating dust motes filtering through invisible shafts. But still, the silence pressed on. "Elizabeth?" she called out, hoping her voice would shatter the stillness. "Where are you?" No answer came, just the suffocating quiet that folded around her, making her feel smaller, more isolated. Then a soft crunch, like footsteps on gravel, echoed through the emptiness. Anna's breath caught. Her heart raced once more as shadows' slivers of movement slipped through a crack in the wall, reaching out for her with spectral fingers. Misdirection, a voice floated through, eerily familiar. You think you left them behind? She felt her heart drop. It couldn't be. Welcome back, Anna. Now faced with this chilling realization, she knew she was trapped in a web of horrors she could not escape. What had she invited back into her life? As the shadows twisted into a menacing shape, one question loomed larger than the anxiety pooling in her stomach. What awaited her in the shadows? She thought she fled. The shadows loomed closer, their edges blurring into an ominous shapelessness, twisting like smoke caught in a storm. Anna pressed her back against the cold surface of the wall, her breath quickening as she strained to recognize the source of the voice that sent a shiver cascading down her spine. Who are you? She stammered, her voice a thin thread against the thickening air, but the specter of familiarity flickered just out of reach. Do you really not remember? The voice softened, almost sorrowful. You sought comfort once, and I answered. Now your burden is mine to share. It felt wrong, so wrong. Memories tumbled through her mind like fallen leaves in the wind. Faces she thought she'd buried, friends, family, all strewn together in a jumbled mess of love and loss. But there, beneath the surface, was something darker. Something she tried to forget. The shadows pulsed with an unearthly glow, sending flickers of icy light that illuminated brief sections of the wall, dark figures trapped in time. Regret hung in the air, a stagnant weight that pressed onto her shoulders. Leave me alone! She cried out, the words desperate as she fought back tears. Alone? The voice laughed, a hollow echo that reverberated through the empty space. You never were. Not in life, nor in death. You're chained to us, just like we are to you. In that moment, a flood of memories surged forth, snatches of laughter, tear-streaked faces, and above all, Elizabeth's radiant smile. Anna's heart thudded painfully. The shadows clawed at her mind, whispering secrets only she could hear. A web of connections emerged, binding her not only to the shadows but to the aching void left by her lost sister. Let me go! I want to be a part of this! She surged forward, her fists clenched, determined yet terrified. The shadows hesitated, swirling around her like an inked storm. You can run, but you cannot hide from what you've done. We're part of you, Anna. A chill ran over her skin as she stumbled back, tripping over the echoes of her choices. The memories crashed down like waves, and for every moment of joy she saw a corresponding instance of pain, a memory of betrayal, a choice made in weakness. The walls began to shimmer, distorting, reflecting her turmoil. And suddenly she heard it, a soft gasp, not from the shadows, but from deeper within the darkness. Anna! The voice was small, fragile, yet so familiar. Elizabeth? Her heart raced anew, hope igniting within her. Where are you? Help me! I'm trapped, came the response, filled with desperation as Anna felt the breath of hope turn into a flame ready to burst. The shadows recoiled as if stung, leaving a temporary pathway illuminated between them. With renewed determination, Anna bolted toward the sound. The shifting forms lashed out, but she was quick, dodging the grasp of cold tendrils that clawed for her. Stay away from me! She shouted as she fought through the oppressive shadows. Please! You have to remember. Elizabeth's voice trembled, woven with pain. As Anna sprinted closer, a bright light glinted in the center of the shadows, a portal, shimmering with urgency. Could it be salvation, or another trick to ensnare her? Faster, Anna! Elizabeth's plea rang out again, sending ripples of courage through her veins. But just as Anna felt herself breaking free, doubt crept in. Behind her, the shadows began to reshape, molding together into a figure, a silhouette of someone she never wanted to face again. Would she escape into the light to save Elizabeth, or was a darker fate waiting just beyond reach? Questions churned in her mind, urgency thrumming in her heart. Was she ready to confront her past, or was she destined to remain forever entangled in the shadows? Anna's heart raced as she inched toward the shimmering portal. It pulsed like a heartbeat, warm and inviting against the icy grip of darkness surrounding her. But the silhouette behind her twisted, pulling her gaze away. She could feel the intensity of its presence, threatening, intimate. "Don't look back," a whisper hissed, crackling through the air like static. "You know who it is. You have to remember." Elizabeth's voice echoed again, laced with desperation and fear, drawing Anna's attention back to the light. But the figure behind her surged forward, its shape coalescing into features she recognized too well. A face twisted in sorrow, eyes dark with accusations. It was Daniel, her brother. "You left us, Anna," he spoke, the words cutting through the fog like a knife. "You can't run from your choices. You abandoned us all." "No! No!" She shook her head, clawing at the memories. Why now, when hope was so close? Shadows clawed at her mind, trying to tighten their grip once more. "Come with me," Daniel beckoned, a hand extending from the darkness, the edges dissolving into the air. "We can be a family again." Her heart twisted. How could he say that after everything? Didn't abandon you," she screamed, wishing her voice could cut through the creeping dread. "I tried to save you." The shadows shifted, angry whispers swirling around her. "Did you?" They mocked, echoing her betrayal, her failures. With each taunt, the air thickened, making it harder to breathe. "Help me!" Elizabeth cried again, the urgency in her voice lancing through Anna like an arrow. She still hovered just beyond the light, but Anna could feel her slipping away, as if the shadows had some unseen pull on her. "Anna!" Daniel stepped closer, his figure solidifying with each desperate plea. "Don't you see? You did this. You have to own it. Join us, return to where you belong." "No!" The word broke from her chest. "I wouldn't let you drag me down." Not now. She turned back toward the shimmering portal as the shadows advanced, claws reaching for her skin. The cold seeped into her bones, but something else flickered within. It was a memory, a moment of clarity, a promise made to herself never to forget. "Elizabeth!" she shouted, heart racing. "I'm coming!" With every ounce of strength, Anna lunged toward the light, the warmth spilling onto her skin like sunlight. The shadows howled, their cries mingled with Daniel's desperate pleas, filling her ears with chaos. And then she leaped, crossing into the bright expanse, feeling the world twist and turn around her. But as quickly as the light enveloped her, it faded, leaving her suspended in darkness once more. The shadows shimmered around her, expectant, waiting. "Welcome back, Anna," the voice whispered, now layered with familiarity and menace. "We've missed you." She took a breath, but it caught in her throat, a lump of fear. "What do you want from me?" "Only to remind you that you can never truly escape," and then came a chilling laugh that echoed in the void, sending horror coursing through her veins. Just when she thought she was pulling away, the shadows tightened their grip. The memories surged again, unbidden and vivid. Could she trust the light? Or would stepping back mean sealing Elizabeth's fate forever? A single question burned in her mind. Would she sacrifice everything for the chance to pull her sister from this abyss, or would she pay a price she wasn't prepared to meet? As the shadows whispered truths too horrific to face, Anna realized she was trapped in a cycle, teetering on the edge of a decision that could change everything. What deeper horrors lay in waiting? What secret shadows yet loomed in her past, eager to reveal themselves? The answers clawed at the edges of her mind, eager to be unearthed. The shadows around Anna pulsed with an unsettling energy, the whispering voices growing louder, drowning out her thoughts. "You cannot escape the truth," they breathed, their words curling like tendrils of smoke around her. They surrounded her, smirking, taunting her with remembrances she had buried deep. With trembling hands, Anna reached out, trying to touch the darkness, searching for a thread of Elizabeth, a lifeline in the gloom. "Elizabeth!" she cried again, desperation cracking her voice. The name echoed back at her, lost amidst the cacophony of jeering whispers. "Do you really think you can save her?" Daniel's voice sliced through the chaos, heavy with bitterness. "You think you have the strength to fight what you've awakened?" The shadows coalesced into images, each one more haunting than the last. Anna saw fleeting glimpses of her past moments of joy twisted into sorrow, laughter dissolving into screams. "This is who you are, Anna," they chanted, their voices rising to a demonic crescendo. You can't hide behind the light anymore. The portal shimmered faintly, a cruel reminder of her fleeting escape. She could feel its warmth brushing against her skin, but the shadows around her were cold, gnawing. Was it a trick? Did it want to betray her like everything else? Listen to me, Daniel urged, his voice now softer, almost pleading. You left me to die. And in doing so, you unleashed this darkness. Can't you see? It's all connected. Join us, and you can find peace. Anna felt bile rise in her throat. The gnawing guilt clawed at her insides. Images of Daniel's final moments filled her mind, the flames, the screams, the feeling of utter helplessness. She had run, but what had she really saved? The gnashing teeth of regret filled the silence, a deafening roar drowning out her resolve. Enough! She shouted, as if her voice could sever the chains binding her to her past. I don't want your peace. I want my sister! A charged silence enveloped her, as if the shadows recoiled at her strength. She took a breath, filling her lungs with courage. Elizabeth is not part of your twisted game. I will not lose her again. But the darkness chuckled, low and rumbling. And what are you willing to sacrifice to save her? You'll have to choose, Anna. Light or shadow? Freedom or family? As the shadows began to shift and swirl, forming the contours of her worst fears, Anna fought to remain anchored in her choice. Get away from me! She screamed, willing the darkness to recede. She focused on that glimmering portal, envisioning Elizabeth's face glowing in the light. Help me! Elizabeth's voice fluttered in the distance, tremorous and weak, and then it hit her, a moment of clarity fused with sheer terror. The power to tip the scales was in her hands, but those choices came with an impossible cost. The portal flickered again, its promise almost tangible, but its edges sparked with the energy of danger. Daniel! If you loved me, help me save her. We can still fight this together. Silence fell before Daniel threw back his head, laughter rippling through the air, unsettling and harsh. Choose wisely. But know that everything has a price. A flash of light illuminated the darkness, revealing shadows distorting, twisting into grotesque shapes before vanishing. Anna had no idea where to go, what steps to take next. Could she confront the price of her past? Or would the cost of saving Elizabeth prove far too high? As heartbeats matched the rhythm of the swirling twilight, Anna braced herself, knowing the next step could lead her into uncharted horrors. The shadows waited hungrily, eager to devour her resolve. What awaited her on this treacherous path? Was she truly ready to face the darkest corners of her heart, even if it meant unearthing forbidden truths? The air felt thick, a heavy blanket of anticipation wrapped around Anna as the shadows twisted and slithered, forming flickering figures that taunted her from every corner. Her heart hammered violently against her chest, each thump like a drumroll announcing her fate. She could almost sense the warmth of Elizabeth's presence, a faint flicker in the darkness, urging her to move forward. Find me. Elizabeth's voice pierced through the murkiness, more urgent now, fear lacing every syllable. Anna's breath hitched in her throat. Was that desperation she heard? She glanced toward the portal again, its light almost blinding against the consuming darkness, and made her choice. Stepping closer to its glimmer, she felt the urge to reach out, but Daniel's echoing laughter shattered her moment of resolve. Do you really believe you can just walk away? His tone dripped with mockery. You're playing a game that's far older than you can imagine. Stop it! Anna yelled, clenching her fists. This isn't a game. I'm not your pawn. I'm here for my sister. But the shadows roared back, swelling around her, obscuring her vision. They coiled, dark serpents of memory pulling her deeper into her past, unearthing buried pain. She felt the suffocating grip of guilt again, images of Daniel's charred face, the chaos of fire, the screams she couldn't silence. Join me, Anna. Daniel's voice fluttered, softening, as if he were reaching for a part of her that still cared. Let us end this cycle of suffering. All you have to do is embrace the shadows. No! She took another step back, body trembling. I refuse to join the dark. The figure surrounding her flickered, menacingly, shifting to her greatest fears, herself, trapped in a shadowy void, spiraling endlessly into despair. Was she really capable of saving Elizabeth? The shadows taunted her, feeding off her doubt, their whispers growing louder until she could hardly hear her own thoughts. Maybe you're wrong, Anna. Maybe it's time to accept your fate, they sang, voices intermingling in an eerie chorus. She could feel the warmth of the portal growing dimmer, a flicker of hope dissipating in the shadowy cold. Was it truly possible she had no strength left? But another voice broke through the haze, stronger than the others. It was Elizabeth, her faint whisper filling the cavernous expanse with undeniable warmth. I believe in you. That simple phrase reignited a flicker of defiance within Anna. I'll save her. With renewed determination, she sprang forward, aiming for the glimmering portal. The shadows roared in fury, tendrils clawing at her limbs, trying to drag her back. Foolish girl, they hissed. You cannot escape your own past. I can't let it win, she screamed, pushing through, feeling their cold touch scrape against her skin. The portal pulsed, illuminating the darkness that threatened to engulf her completely. Just a little further, but the shadows thrashed violently, forming a wall of gargling sounds and bitter laughter. One jagged tendril wrapped around her ankle, jerking her off balance, sending her crashing to the ground. Make your choice, Anna, Daniel sneered from the shadows. Light or shadow. Freedom or family. But know this, the price may be her life. Her heart raced. What did he mean? Could she really sacrifice Elizabeth to save herself? The very thought made her nauseous. With palpable fear, she struggled against the weight of the darkness, caught in a web that felt intent on feeding off her desperation. In that moment of stillness, Anna's mind raced with a revelation. Perhaps the shadows could be bent to her will, if she discerned their true nature. Her heart pounded louder, drowning out all other noise. It's time to end this, she roared, unleashing every ounce of her willpower against the darkness. In response, the shadows shrieked, twisting and writhing as if her determination was a brush fire they could not contain. But would it be enough? Anna could feel Elizabeth's dwindling presence, and with it, the stakes had never been higher. Could she harness the darkness, bend it to her desire, or would she slip into the abyss, leaving Elizabeth behind for eternity? A breakthrough was close, but the shadows were relentless. In the battle between light and dark, what would Anna sacrifice to save her family? Could she conquer what she had long avoided? The answer loomed just beyond reach, and with every heartbeat, she sensed the shadows drawing closer. The shadows surged, a tidal wave of darkness clamoring for Anna, dragging her down towards the depths of despair. But in that moment, she felt a spark ignite within her, a flicker of resolve stronger than her fear. Elizabeth's voice echoed, reminding her of the bond they once shared, unbroken by death. Anna clenched her fists, channeling that love into a fierce determination. Enough! She shouted, feeling the weight of her past stirring violently around her, but the anger at her missteps turned into a razor-sharp focus. You may have taken my family, but you will not take my spirit! The shadows responded with a visceral roar, their tendrils clawing at the air, trying to extinguish her light. But Anna felt warmth radiating from the portal, urging her to move forward. She lunged, bursting through the walls of darkness as if they were made of smoke. The portal engulfed her, the light swallowing the shadows whole. Anna gasped as the warmth wrapped around her like a comforting embrace, illuminating her surroundings. She was back in the dim room, the air heavy, but now filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Elizabeth! She called, her voice ringing strong. She spun around, desperation clawing at her chest, searching for her sister. This time, she wouldn't quit. She moved through the empty space, pushing against indecision. I'm not leaving without you. A soft, sobbing sound drifted to her, filling her with both dread and hope. Anna raced toward it, her heart pounding. It erupted into a vicious cacophony, voices materializing around her, filling her head. You can't save her! They bellowed, their tones a twisted mockery. But Anna shook her head, steeling her resolve. I want to listen! You'll have to kill me before you break me. The shadows twisted around her, and within them, she caught a sudden glimpse of Elizabeth's fragile silhouette, trapped in darkness but radiant somehow. Anna, the voice whispered urgently. Please, I'm so scared. The sound cut through Anna, igniting an unwavering fire inside her. She drew on it, pushing aside the encroaching bleakness around her. I'm here. I won't let you go. Anna sprinted forward, not allowing the shadows to deter her. With each passing breath, she fought against their freezing tendrils that spiraled to hold her back, determined to rescue her sister. The portal pulsed behind her, a promise of warmth, but Elizabeth's presence pulled her with an intensity greater than anything she had felt. Anna! The voice cried out in pain, full of despair, and Anna felt a rip of longing drag her closer, deeper into the shadows that reached out like dead branches craving life. Help me! Her heart squeezed painfully in her chest. I'm coming! She shouted, tears streaming down her cheeks. Each close vision of Elizabeth rekindled her purpose. She wouldn't leave her sister alone in this darkness. With a deep breath, Anna anchored herself in determination. Her body surged forward into what felt like an endless abyss. Just as the shadows lunged forward, trying to drown her in their despair, the air suddenly filled with warmth. Roaring with all her power, she reached out blindly, grasping hold of Elizabeth's ethereal hand. Hold on! She shouted, clenching her sister's hand, pulling with all her might. The tendrils of shadow recoiled, shrieking as Anna dug deeper into her own strength, each pulse of light surging through her. You don't own me! She bellowed, feeling the warmth amplified between them, twisting the darkness devoid of hope. In an instant, the shadows erupted, forcing Anna and Elizabeth to dodge the wrath, their hands tightening in desperation. The moment their fingers connected, light shot through the cracks of the darkness, burning away despair like matches to kindling. Light rippled across the void, shattering the remnants of shadow. Each echo of laughter, each painful cry dissolved into silence. Anna's heart beat in tandem with Elizabeth's, their breaths sinking as they emerged into the blinding light, feeling the remnants of pain begin to lift. And then it happened. The shadows began to tear apart, unraveling like a badly woven tapestry, revealing a lonely but beautiful landscape, grassy fields dripping in golden sunlight, birds soaring in the clear blue sky. Is this real? Anna whispered, still catching her breath. The grief lifted like mist after rain. Elizabeth smiled brightly now, her face reflecting the pure joy of freedom. This is us, Anna. We made it. We are free. Tears streaked Anna's face, but relief trickled in, calming her heart. You don't know how long I've searched for you, Anna said, the weight of loss slowly dissipating in the sunlight. Yes, Elizabeth nodded, her gaze fierce and loving. But we belong together now. As they embraced, warmth flooded every corner of their beings. The echoes of the past remained, a parting gift, a reminder, but they were not chains anymore. They had survived the darkness together, and whatever came next, they would face it hand in hand. Anna pulled back, holding her sister's gaze, the memories shifting. We're going to make new ones, she declared. And this time, they won't be shadowed by fear. They turned to face their new beginning, the horizon opening before them, a promise of brighter days glowing with every step they took. As they walked into their new reality, a soft whisper caressed the air, carrying with it shades of the past. Remember, what comes from darkness can always yield light. They breathed freely now, leaving behind the ghosts for good, no longer terrified of shadows, but forever carrying the love they forged from pain and the light that guided them home. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you never miss an exclusive story like this one again. Smash that like button now to help us feed the algorithm. Show your support. Flood the comments section below with your reactions, theories, and what you thought of this ending. It matters to us. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Join the community and keep these stories alive.